Periodic table by Vedanshi Kancherla. So what is the periodic table? The periodic table is an arrangement of chemical elements in order of increasing atomic number. Each element is placed in a specific place on the table based on its atomic structure and its properties. And the table is divided into rows called periods and columns called families or groups. If an element is in the same group, it has similar chemical properties. So why is the periodic table important? So it's important because it helps in predicting and explaining chemical reactions, and it also helps identifying different relationships between elements to discover new materials. The table has periodic trends like atomic size, and by knowing these trends, it can help predict properties of elements. History of the periodic table. So early civilizations such as the Greeks and the Egyptians aimed to classify substances, but they did not have a very good approach. And a scientist named Johann Wolfgang was the first to have introduced the basic concept of grouping elements with with similar properties. So Dmitri Mendeleev was a chemist, and he was the first to create the periodic table, and he had arranged the elements by increasing atomic mass. So structure, so like periods, groups, families, and blocks. So the periodic table has 7 horizontal rows known as periods. The rows are known to have a trend where as you move from left to right, the atomic number increases. And the table also has 18 vertical columns called groups, and elements in the same group have similar chemical and physical properties because of having the same number of valence electrons. The table also includes 4 different blocks, such as S block, P block, D block, and F block, all having different properties. So for example, S block includes alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, and helium. So this is the classification of elements. So we're going to talk about metals first. So metals are mostly on the left side and the center of the periodic table, and their physical properties are that they're mostly solid at room temperature, all except mercury, and they're malleable and they're ductile. Some chemical properties are that they're really good conductors of heat and electricity, and they tend to lose electrons and form a positive ion. So about nonmetals now. So nonmetals are mostly on the right side of the periodic table, and so their physical properties, they can be gases, liquids, and solids. So they're not really shiny, and they're kind of brittle when they're solid. So their chemical properties are that they're really bad conductors of heat and electricity, and they tend to gain electrons and form a negative ion. So some examples can be like carbon, sulfur, and nitrogen. And now we're going to talk about metalloids. So metalloids are mostly in between metals and nonmetals on the periodic table. And their physical properties are that they're often semiconductors, and their chemical properties are that they can either act as metals or nonmetals. Some examples of metalloids are silicon, boron, and yeah. So some fun facts are that oxygen is the most abundant element in the Earth's crust and is important for respiration and combustion. So names of the elements comes from things such as people and sometimes mythology. So the element oganesson is named after a Russian physicist and is currently the most heaviest element known and is very unstable. So thanks for watching.